I'm Asmita, your IELTS mentor here at Vedantu, and I'm just going to wait a second to make sure we are live and then continue yapping. Meanwhile, please do drop a hello to me. Let me know if this time is better than the 5 p.m. lives that we used to have. This is more convenient. And then we can get started with a very, very useful session today. Alright, seems like I am live, audible, visible, good to go. Drop your hellos in the chat. Hi Shibam. Okay, so today we are going to do a vocab upgrade. What that means is we are going to learn how vocabulary impacts our responses, because a lot of us have misconceptions related to this. We think that we need to just use the most complicated word in every sentence, and we go to a thesaurus, we find synonyms that are just way too complex, we might use them inaccurately, and a lot of times this kind of a vocabulary upgrade actually ends up hampering our score. So we're going to understand exactly what it means to have a good range of vocabulary for the purpose of the IELTS, and I'm going to tell you how to four different ways in which you can improve your vocabulary. These are 4 very specific points that you need to work on. And once we are done discussing all of this, I'm going to give you some sentences that are a part of normal speaking responses in the IELTS, and you're going to upgrade these sentences with the 4 things that I asked you to keep in mind live. So you're going to do it in the chat, you're going to do it without the help of AI, please, and you're going to learn how to start incorporating this in your IELTS journey. Alright, so before we get started, if you haven't yet, kindly do fill out the study abroad counseling form. You can find this in the description. The reason why you absolutely need to do this is because career counseling is the only thing that will ensure that you get admission somewhere and all your application through and through is taken care of. See, it's not just about finding a university, applying to it. It's not as easy as it is in applying to domestic universities, because over here all you have to do is meet the criteria. Maybe you have to give an entrance exam. If you meet the cutoff, then you will be granted admission in the college, and then all you have to do is show some sort of documentation and you're done. But when it comes to studying abroad, there are 1,000 different factors that need to be addressed, including visa application, which is a very tedious, it's a bureaucratic process, it's difficult, it has a lot of aspects that you might not be aware of. And so having a career counselor who will guide you step by step is so necessary, so important. This kind of mentorship and guidance is often paid, and it is in the expensive range. But Vedantu is offering this to you guys for free right now. You're the lucky first ones to be getting this for free. It's going to become a paid service very soon. So please make sure you are exploiting this as much as you can and taking advantage of it. Have a discussion, sit down with your parents. I would highly recommend that you fill out this form with your parents, sit them down next to you so that you have all the accurate information that this form demands, and you will get contacted by a career counselor very, very soon. So if you haven't done this yet, please do it. For all those of you who have done it, sorry that you have to hear me say this again and again, but it is very important. So you have to bear with the first 5 minutes. All right, and let everybody else know how your experience has been if you have already taken the career counseling, so that they know that it is legitimate and it is extremely beneficial. All right, so for the purpose of today's session, we need to first understand the difference in vocabulary that gives you a higher band. So what really is that factor that gets you a band 6 or a band 7? Because it's not arbitrary. It's not like the examiner feels like giving you a band 6, so they give you a band 6. No, the examiner has very detailed criteria that they need to follow point by point, right? So hi Sushmit, hi Sayon. Okay, you are, so you got an early head start. That's very good. You're planning in advance, and that's going to be quite smooth for you, because there are so many things that you will learn through the process and time won't be an issue. All right. You can start applying once you're done with your 12th exams. That's when you start applying. You can do a bunch of things beforehand. For example, taking the IELTS maybe in 11th grade also works, because not only will that help you take care of one thing in advance, but the score is valid for 2 years, so you won't have to retake it or anything. But if you have to retake it because you didn't get a good band, then you will have the time to prepare and take the exam again as well, okay? And otherwise, if you want to know when exactly you need to start applying, how long each process will take, then that's what the career counseling is for. So you just have to fill out the form. Once you do that, an expert will help you through this entire process, okay? Alright, so now because examiners are following such a detailed point-by-point sheet where everything is listed, that if the candidate does this, they get this band, if they do this, they get this band. So you can go through that criteria. It's freely available online. It's called band descriptors for IELTS speaking. Once you go through those criteria, you will understand what the examiner is looking for in your responses. So I have just narrowed that down for you over here. When it comes to band 6, there's a lot of repetition of words. So you don't showcase a variety, a range of vocabulary, whereas lexical resource is all about having that range, right? So you are describing anything that's positive as good, anything that's negative as bad, and you're doing the same thing repeatedly. Maybe you have a more complex word than good or bad. You're using beneficial instead of good, but you're using beneficial all the time. So there's constant repetition, there's no variety. In band 7, you see a range. You see that this candidate knows different words for different contexts and is okay with using them, but that understanding is a very superficial understanding. It's not an in-depth understanding. Band 8, here you have precise, varied and topic appropriate vocabulary. Now, I made a video yesterday. I don't know if you were able to catch it. I'm not sure if it's been uploaded, but when it does, it's about what has changed in IELTS 2025. And a major thing that has changed in IELTS 2025 is that examiners are actually looking out for topic appropriate vocabulary and us giving you scores based on this, right? So I have many a times given you different lists. For example, if education is the topic, then these are the different words that you need to know. If technology is the topic, right, then these are the different words you need to know. Environment is the topic, then these are the different words you need to know. And the words for education can be something like curriculum, schedule, etc. Technology can have artificial intelligence. Environment has sustainability and all of that, right? So there are many different words that are topic specific, and it will help you to keep a list of these words so that you can refer to them whenever necessary, right? Because this is being graded with more attention in IELTS 2025. So band 8 plus has precise, varied and topic appropriate vocabulary, and what this shows is that the range of vocabulary is so expanded, it's so large, high, whatever, that for any given topic you're able to pull out different words from the expanse of your vocabulary, right? Your bank is big, and that's what shows that you have more grasp of the language. You've spent more time with the language, you are more familiar with the language, all right? So this is what the difference in vocabulary is. Now examples here: a dull, overused, repeated word is good, bad, big, nice. And I'm not saying you absolutely cannot use these words. You definitely can use these words. No one's telling you not to, but use them once or twice. If these are the only words that you keep using again and again, that shows how narrow your vocabulary is. So here are some dynamic upgrades for these words. Like instead of good, it could be exceptional, effective, impressive. Now here there are subtle differences in all of these, right? There are nuances that you need to understand. For example, effective can be used for something that brings about a more efficiency in a process, or that makes our life smoother and easier. So in terms of a specific technology, in terms of machinery, infrastructure, effective is the word that you can use to imply that this has made our lives easier, right? Impressive is something that doesn't necessarily make our life easier, but it's something that can be wowed at. You know, something that you will say that, okay, that's great, that's amazing. And exceptional, again, something that stands apart. There is nothing like it in the world. So there are some very subtle differences between these three words, and your ability to tell the difference and use these words exactly where they need to be shows that you have good, better understanding, higher understanding of vocabulary. Similarly with big, significant, substantial, considerable. Now all of these don't talk about size, right? This does not mean big in size. This means big in impact, right? So having a significant, substantial or considerable impact, that's the kind of big we're talking about. If you're talking about big in terms of size, can you give me a few words that describe big in size? Come on quickly in the chat. I want words that can describe big in terms of size and not in terms of impact, because these are in terms of impact. Quickly now. Very good, Aman. Very good, Sion. Yes, there's huge. There's massive. There's a word that starts with C. Does anybody know? And sometimes there is overlap as well. So sometimes you can use a word for big in size and big in impact both. Enormous, yes, very good. What about the C word that I'm talking about? Does anybody know this word? It's something you must have heard. There's an ad also for some, not autonomous. Autonomous means independent, autonomous body of like a branch of government that works independently. Gigantic, very good. This is colossal. That's the word I was referring to, colossal. Must have heard it. It's in some ad for a product. I think it's a makeup product. I forget which brand. But you must have heard this word. So these are all words for big in size. Sometimes they can be used for impact also. There is some overlap here. But generally the word big, if you're talking about big changes, big difference, or a big increase or decrease in something, then we can use these words. If you're talking about the actual size, and this could be the actual size of a physical tangible thing, for example a building or a person. It can also be the size of something that's intangible but can be felt, for example workload, or the size of a problem, right? It's a massive issue, it's a colossal issue, it's an enormous issue. So here the size can also of a non-tangible thing can also be big, right? Okay. Now next we have bad. Bad, again there are many different words. So bad generally works for all situations. But if you use a more fine-tuned, precise word, that increases your chances of getting a band 8+. So here we have unfavorable, harmful, ineffective. So ineffective is something that does not do its job, right? Or it does not work. Harmful is something that goes out of the way to create problems for you, okay? And unfavorable is something that's not the best possible option. So there are again subtle differences between these words and they cannot be used interchangeably, right? So we cannot say that bacteria is ineffective. We cannot say bacteria is unfavorable. We will say bacteria is harmful for the human health, right? Tabish, corrupt for bad, yes. So in the sense that that's a very particular way of describing something. I wouldn't say it's a synonym of bad, because corrupt has a very specific meaning. But you can use bad instead of corrupt, yes, but using corrupt is a more specific way of describing an issue, right? So again, it's not a direct synonym of bad, but it is in the realm of something negative, all right? And capacious, again, it's not big. Capacious means having space, right? So again, difference is there in meaning. but it comes under the bucket of describing space. This comes under the bucket of describing something negative. All these words come under the bucket of describing something positive, right? Okay, next, nice, pleasant, delightful, appealing. Again, this could be for a person, this could describe the taste of something, could describe the weather, it could describe a personality, it could describe how you felt while experiencing something, so an experience, right? So many different uses of these words. So it's not like it's enough for you to simply say that, okay, I can use these words instead of good, because that won't work. I'll give you an example. If you want to compliment somebody's dance performance, you will say that was a or an blank performance. Now here, if you think that, okay, I want to say it was a good performance, but I can substitute good with any of these words, then if I use the word effective here, that will be wrong. That was an effective performance. Effective doesn't really do the trick here. It's not a compliment. I want to say something like exceptional or impressive. And again, here there's a difference of degree as well, right? So exceptional is a higher degree. Good is a lower degree. Good is okay. Exceptional is amazing. So here there's a difference in degree. So there are a lot of things you need to take care in vocabulary. So actually I'm going to say a lot of things that you need to be mindful of when you look at synonyms, right? The first thing is, the first nuance or subtle difference in meaning. Second thing you need to look out for is degree. And the third thing you need to look out for is part of speech, whether it's being used as the same part of speech, right? For example, you have the word good. What part of speech is good? Come on, tell me quickly. What part of speech is good? Sweet, wonderful, fabulous, yes. Again, all under the bucket of positive things, but all being used to describe something else. Very good, Sushmit. Yes. So good over here is an adjective. Okay. What is this word? What is this word? I've written a word under good. What is this word? Virtue. What part of speech is this? What part of speech is virtue? Yes, it's a quality. So what part of speech would that be? As a quality, what part of speech is virtue? Yes, you are right, but qualities are which part of speech? Adjective, adverb, noun, verb. What is it? Preposition, conjunction. These are all the different parts of speech. What is virtue? Very good, yes. So it is a noun, right? Now here, somebody with virtue can be good, right? So in some sense, they have similar meaning, right? But can I use them in the same way? No, he is a good person. He never lies. So if we are describing somebody as a good person because they never lie, then we are saying that they have this virtue, that they don't lie. But over here, I cannot just remove good and write he is a virtue person, right? I cannot write he is a virtue person. What can I write? I have to write he is a virtuous person. Virtuous, because virtuous will be the adjective, right? Just how the noun form of good is goodness. Goodness. Goodness is the noun, correct? So we need to make sure that we have the correct part of speech, and only then we can substitute. We can only substitute an adjective for an adjective. We can only substitute a noun for a noun. If we try to do it the other way, we are going to get a grammatically incorrect sentence. So that is also something that you need to look out for. Alright, so that's what I mean by part of speech. So nuance, subtle meaning and difference, I've already explained that to you in the previous slide. Degree, again, I have explained it to you in the previous slide. For example, I'll just write it down here. For example, a high degree of something bad is repulsive, right? Repulsive. And a lower degree of something bad is, let's say, not good. So not good is quite low, repulsive is quite high when it comes to the degree of what we are trying to express. So these are different things we need to keep in mind when we look at synonyms for words. Alright, is that clear? Good to go? Because now I'm going to give you the important information that you have to apply in order to upgrade your vocabulary. This is extremely important. Now there are 4 pillars of, yes, democracy, but also of dynamic vocabulary. Alright, so these are 4 different zones that you need to focus on and pay attention to in order to make sure that you are working in the right direction for the purpose of the IELTS. Number 1 is upgrade your adjectives, because adjectives are the spice in your sentences, right? I can make a sentence without an adjective, but it is the addition of the adjective that helps me showcase my vocabulary and how I feel about something, right? So here, again, an example of this is when you drop words like good or bad that are commonly used for other richer adjectives like strong and weak. So what you can do is, an easy way to do is make opposite pairs. What I mean by that is good, bad, strong, weak, big, small. Okay, and once you make these opposite pairs of really common words, then try to upgrade each. So find 4 different words for strong, 4 different words for weak, 4 for good, 4 for bad, 4 for big, 4 for small, and all of them should have some sort of subtle differences in meaning. Alright, so for example, I've already shown you this for good, bad, big and nice. So then for weak, small, strong, you can do the same exercise where you find different words that have a slightly different connotation, okay? And based on that, you make your buckets, and I'm telling you, you can actually make actual buckets like this, right? So if you want list of positive adjectives, then you make one list of negative adjectives, right? Then you write down the first adjective, right? First is effective. Write down the subtle meaning of this. What is the meaning? That it works, something works well or solves its purpose, does what it is meant to do, stuff like that, okay? Once you write that down, then write 2 example sentences, then move on to the next word. Next word can be something like favorable. Again, write down the meaning, suitable, or something that will work best in a given situation, and then write down 2 example sentences. So like that, make your positive adjective list, make your negative adjective list, alright, and then keep that handy. So whenever you are, she is absolutely fine if that's the kind of information you want. She's doing well, alright, okay. So this is the first thing you need to do. Second thing is topic collocations. What are collocations? Collocations are pairs of words that are generally used together. So native speakers tend to use a lot of collocations. You need to do the same thing, incorporate these collocations in your speech. And these word pairings, what you can do here, you can take the help of AI like ChatGPT and say, can you give me collocations for different topics that native speakers generally use. So the only prompt you need to put is, please provide collocations for these different topics that native speakers generally use. You will get a list of collocations. Make them a part of your vocabulary. You need to have a separate book. Just get like a thin book, make it your vocabulary book and start writing all of this down in it so that it is handy. You can open it and check it whenever. Hi Parth, I'm good. How are you? Okay. Then you have linking and cohesion. That's the next pillar that you need to really be careful about. This helps you improve the flow and structure, right? Think of it as, you have a pipeline that has to flow like this, right? Water will come out, it'll be put in here and it has to come out from here so that it can be collected over here in this reservoir. Okay, now what is the most important thing in this entire structure? It is your joints, right? If you don't have proper joints, if you have leaky joints, if your joints are not shaped accurately, then in any place you can have water leakage, right? And so you won't get enough water in your reservoir at the end of the day. What this means is the water is the thought that you are trying to convey, and you want this thought to reach here exactly as it is, right? You want it to reach here exactly as it is. Then here we have the yellow part, which is your words, your sentences, your ideas. Right? Words, sentences, ideas. Now these pink joints, these are things that link / connect your ideas so that your thought can flow freely and reach the reservoir, right? So your pink bits over here are your linking words. If you are missing these, then it will break your thought. It will break your idea. It will break what you're trying to say, and your thought will not effectively reach the reservoir, right? So these are extremely necessary, extremely important. Parth, it totally depends. I can't make a blanket statement because I don't know how well your school has enforced English education, how your English teacher is, how your marks are graded. I have no idea about all of this, so I can't say it's enough or not enough, all right? But you should not be aiming for a band 6. You should at least be aiming for a band 8. You aim for a band 8, then maybe you'll get a 7. You're very bad at paraphrasing in writing tasks. Should I memorize different introduction templates? You can memorize introduction templates, but make sure you memorize enough so that you're not repeating them constantly, all right? See, there are limited ways to start an academic essay. So it won't sound memorized if you are even using templates that you already know. But make sure that you can experiment a little bit with them. You are a little flexible with them. If you have to change one thing here and there, you're able to do it. It's a very good idea always to memorize a template for the writing task, because academic essays are very limited in what you can do in terms of language. It is how you express your idea that matters in an academic essay, and that you cannot memorize anyway because you don't know what kind of prompt you will get. So memorizing a structure is not a problem. In fact, it is a smart thing to do. So yes, you should memorize a template. That's absolutely fine. I've also given you templates. You can find that video on the channel where I'm providing you templates for task 1 and task 2. So you can just look at that list and keep it handy, all right? So now that you understand the importance of linking and cohesion, it improves flow and improves your structure. So linking words, if you want to give a contrasting idea, then you have to add something like on the other hand or conversely, but, however. These are words that indicate that you're giving a contrasting idea. If you want to bolster the claim, you want to add on to what you're saying, then you have to add stuff like additionally, on top of that. So these are all linking phrases that will come in very handy. I have again provided a list of these as well. You can find that video, just watch that video and take note of all the linking phrases that I've provided. Memorize all of them because there's a limited number anyway, and use them in variety. Make sure that you're using different linking phrases per paragraph. You don't want to start 2 or 3 consecutive paragraphs with the same linking word. Alright? And finally, we have our idioms and phrasal verbs. These are huge indicators that somebody is familiar and comfortable with English, because native speakers use idioms and phrasal verbs all the time. So these add color. Use wisely means do not overuse. And second is do not force fit. If you force fit idioms especially, it sounds awkward, disjointed. A good way to think about this is do not frame a sentence around an idiom. Once you have a sentence, and if you think that that particular thought in that sentence can be expressed through an idiom, add that idiom. So the idiom should come in later. Do not ever make a sentence around an idiom, alright? Otherwise it will sound like a force fit. So these are 4 things that you need to take care of. So what you can do is you can just make a checklist. Once you're done curating a response, right? This is my writing or speaking response. Then I will come back to it and I will be like, okay, number 1, are there any adjectives that I can upgrade? Okay, once you are done with that, then you move on to the next thing you need to check in the list, which is, should I add collocations anywhere? Or have I used a collocation incorrectly? Have I used an awkward collocation? Third would be, okay, have I linked my thoughts correctly? And fourth should be, can I substitute an idea with an idiom or a phrasal verb? Once you have gone through this entire list, adjectives upgraded, collocations added, linking done properly, idioms if required have been added. Once you go through this list, make whatever changes you want to make in your response. Made some change here, some change here, some change here, and then you can see the difference. Compare the 2 responses and see the difference. You have to do this exercise 2 or 3 times to get the hang of it, and then sooner or later you won't have to go back to it. It will happen simultaneously. While crafting a response itself, this checklist will be in your head, in your subconscious, and you will automatically apply these learnings to whatever you're saying or writing. Alright? Now with this information at hand, it is now your turn to start upgrading. So let's start with the first one over here, which is technology is good for society. How can you develop this thought further? Keep the 4 things I told you in mind. Is there an adjective you can change? Is there a collocation you can add? And you don't necessarily have to do all 4 things in all responses. If you don't think that a collocation or an idiom is making sense, you don't have to add it. But just be mindful that do it whenever you can, whenever it happens naturally. Alright? Elliot, these are not things that you can work on separately. See, it all comes as a whole. When you are, can you do this? You will bake bread, then you will melt cheese, then you will bake veggies, you will cook sauce. You're doing these things separately. Then after all of this is done, can you bring these things together and say you have a pizza? Is that a pizza? No, right? You have to put the sauce on the bread, you have to sprinkle the cheese, you have to put the vegetables, and then you bake it together. Only then you have a pizza. Alright, what you are trying to do is you're saying, okay, I will improve my vocabulary separately, I will work on my tone separately, I will work on my grammar separately, and then when I put all of these things together, I will have perfect English. It never works like this. That's not possible, right? All of these things have to happen together. And the only way that can happen together is if you listen to more and more English. The more you listen, the more these small elements will automatically fall in place. If you cannot come up with a proper vocabulary word and it doesn't make sense when you're speaking, it's because you don't know enough vocabulary words and how to, you cannot just learn vocabulary words in isolation. Give amazing complex vocabulary to somebody who doesn't know the basic grammar of English. Can they make use of that vocabulary? No. Like, it's like asking, giving the best and best of equipment. You are giving the most expensive guitar to somebody who doesn't know how to play the guitar. Is the guitar of any use to this person? No. So you have to first learn the language and then add better vocabulary to it. Okay? All of this happens simultaneously. You can't do these things in isolation. So just listen to more and more people, native speakers talking in English. You are attending class, you're listening to me speaking in English for at least 1 hour every day. That will have a massive impact on you as well. That will also help you improve. Similarly, allocate some time in a day to listen to English news, to an English podcast. If you want to chill, watch an English show. They make better content anyway, mostly. OTT shows in India are good, but Saas Bahu serials you can't watch anyway, right? You are not going to watch, I don't know, Sasural Simar Ka or stuff like that, Nagin and all. I don't think you guys watch that stuff anyway. So watch an English sitcom, and when you're spending time doing that, automatically your English will improve. Alright? Okay, I don't see an upgrade here. How do I change this? How do I make this better? Quickly, try, get it wrong, it's okay. Make mistakes, that's fine. I would much rather have you make mistakes than use AI. If you give me a perfect response, I'm going to doubt it anyway because I'll feel like you've used AI. Okay, Sayon, but you have only changed one word. You have only changed good. Are there any other changes you can make? You can make the sentence longer, that's fine. I've always told you time and again that complex sentences work better than simple sentences, right? You need to be able to use complex sentences in the IELTS. Okay, but here you have, Coco, you have specified on what kind of technology. You're saying specifically cutting edge technology. Why is cutting edge technology better for community? We are generally talking about all kinds of technology. Okay? Alit, you're supposed to improve this sentence, make it better. Come on, guys. No, conducted here is wrong usage. Your sentence does not make sense. Conducted, what are you trying to say? Tell me in Hindi. What are you trying to say? What is the thought that you're wishing to express? And I will help you put it together in English. You're saying gadgets are better for the community. Here we're talking about technology as a whole. See, Coco, your problem is you're narrowing it down to gadgets or you're narrowing it down to cutting edge technology. We're talking about technology as a whole. You don't have to narrow that down. We're saying how do we express this idea better? And don't think of just one sentence structure. Don't think that I will just substitute good and make a better sentence. Try to experiment, try to look for different ways in which you can upgrade this. Tarun, you're giving a specific example of what technology does, but you haven't. Keep these 4 checkpoints in mind. Need you to keep these 4 things in mind, and accordingly I want you to upgrade. Don't change the thought. I'm not asking you to change or narrow down the thought. I'm telling you how can you make this thought better expressed so that it doesn't sound so plain, simple and boring. Come on, come on. Okay, let's try this. Technology is good for society. How? Technology is good for society because it has changed many things, right? It has changed the way we communicate, changed the way we study, changed the way we work, changed how we access information, etc. Right? So it has brought about a big change. So when there is a big change, can you think of a good word for changed? When there is a big change, what is that called? I will help you out. It starts with T. When there is a big change in a good way, what is another word for it? It starts with T. Can anyone think of it? Come on quickly. It's an easy word. You probably know it. Very good, Coco. Transformation, right? Transformation. What is the verb form of transformation? Noun is transformation. Verb is transformed, right? Another form, adjective, transformative, right? Transformation, noun, transformed verb, transformative is a adjective. So here can we say something like, let's say technology plays a transformative role in, and we are talking about our current society, right? Society is also changed. So what do we call our present times? Modern times. So we can say in modern society. Is that an upgrade of the same thought? I haven't narrowed down. I haven't changed the thought. I'm saying the same thing, but I'm saying it in a more impactful manner, right? Technology is essential nowadays. Hi Summer, welcome back. Technology is essential nowadays for every work. It doesn't matter how big or small the work is. Yes, but again you are getting a bit redundant, right? And you're calling it work. Again you're using small and big. If you came a bit late, so if you watch the entire session, we are saying don't overuse simple words like big, small, good, bad, right? but well attempted. Makes sense. But you've seen how you can upgrade a sentence this way. Does that make... Yes, develop, but develop what? It has developed society. Is that what you're trying to say? Technology has led to development in society. That's absolutely fine. You can say that. But transformative is a very strong word, and it captures the essence. So you need to make sure you capture the essence of what is happening. Here, because we discussed this, has had a significant, technology has had a significant impact on many areas in our life. Communication, study, work, access to information, right? Influence, power, money making, economy, everything, right? Globalization. All of it is impacted by technology. So because it has changed so many facets of our life in such a significant manner, then using the word transformative captures that essence really well. In just one word, you are able to explain this. Through one word, you are able to explain the thought. And that is effective use of vocabulary. Here, I don't have to say 3 different sentences to explain this. Just the use of the word transformative is serving the purpose. Alright? Has transformed. Technology has played a crucial role in transforming modern day life. Not many lives, you can just say modern day life. Okay, now let's try this now that you know a little bit how to go about this. Pollution is a big problem. How can you upgrade this a little bit? Come on. Alright, pollution is a threat to life. That's fine. It's a very chotu upgrade, right? Try to capture the essence. Sure, pollution is a threat to life. I'm not denying that, but does that capture how big the problem is effectively, or can you do it better? Can we do it in a better manner? Okay, in the modern world, comma, pollution is a massive problem. Fine. Again, this is a thoda sa aur upgrade. See, you're using the word critical chaos, which sounds fun and it sounds like a good alliterative collocation, but it is not actually a collocation. No, it's not something that's commonly used together, right? So it doesn't express exactly what you're trying to say. Okay, summer, yes, but there are too many words here that seemed forced. For example, pollution is a devastating issue nowadays, which has affected many lives in an unacceptable manner. What is this unacceptable doing here? It seems out of place and awkward. Pollution is harmful for the world, too simplistic, right? Pollution is a devastating issue. Yes, that's fine, but does it capture the full essence? If I just say, because devastating, the word is used more in context of sorrow and grief. You are devastated when something really bad happens. Maybe a loved one passes away unexpectedly. That's when you are devastated, right? When you're really sad, when you're really broken, that's when we use devastated. This over here is an awkward pair. We don't usually say pollution is a devastating problem, right? We can say deforestation is devastating for the wildlife that lives in the forest. That would still make sense, because devastating, I am devastated is when I'm really hit by grief, you know, something really bad has happened. So here it seems unnatural and awkward. Pollution poses a significant threat to human health and the environment. Very good. Perfect. So that captures the essence, right? Even though I feel like a little help from AI was taken, but still pollution poses a significant threat to human health and the environment. That's a good upgrade, okay? That captures the essence of what we're trying to say. Become a massive threat in the future. Yes, Elliot, you're not using articles. Please start making sure that you're adding your a, an, and the in every sentence, right? In the future, in the coming future. Okay? So very good. Tarun takes the cake for this one, even if it's AI generated, as long as you're learning from it. Combating pollution is very challenging in this modern world. That is a good sentence, but it changes the meaning. Here you're focusing on how do we deal with pollution. First, you have to establish that pollution is a problem. Only once you've established it is a problem, then you can figure out how to deal with it, right? Okay, next. I like traveling. How do you upgrade this? I like traveling. Tarun, you read it in an article, then that's fine. The fact that you were able to remember it is great. Good, then great job. Claps for you. See, the thing is, why I thought it was AI generated is because before this, you were not capitalizing the first word of your sentence. Here, all of a sudden, you capitalized it. So I thought maybe you copy-pasted it from somewhere. I like traveling. How can you upgrade this? Come on, come on. And you can give me 2-3 different options. If you don't want to settle for one, give me 2-3 different options. That's fine. Again, Tarun, too short. It's very short. It's the same number of words. The point of upgrading is to increase the meat a little bit in the sentence. Alit, if you're giving an example of where you like it, you don't say basically, you say especially. Instead of saying basically, say especially. I love to travel, especially to mountainous regions or to the mountains, alright? I like to roaming around the world, or I like to roam around the world. And can you just casually roam around the world? I like to roam around the park. That is doable. Can you roam around the world? Does it not cost money? Does it not take visas? Is it not a complicated affair? Do you think roaming here makes sense as a word? Okay, I enjoy traveling. Avyakta, I have told you 4. There is no one core criterion. There are 4. And I've told you 4 in this class. If you watch the video, if you just joined in, watch the session again, and I've told you the 4 pillars of dynamic vocabulary. Apex, very good, but a little too sentimental. It's something that my soul craves. Sounds a bit too melodramatic. It's fine, I guess, overall, if you tone down a bit in the next few sentences, it can still work, but it's a little too overdramatic, I would say. And when you're saying, I am more into adventure, every time you're using the word more, it has to be in relation to something, right? More than what? More than what? You have to mention the other thing. If you're saying you're more into adventure, then you're more into adventure than what? That than what should not be missing if you're using the word more, because more is used to make a comparison, right? And comparison takes at least 2 things. You need at least 2 things to be able to compare. So you're just mentioning one thing, adventure. Where is the other thing? You have to mention that as well, no? Very good, Coco. That is good. Traveling is the one thing that I enjoy the most, that I'm the most passionate about. I can't live without. I enjoy the most. I'm most passionate all of these words are collocations. These are phrases that are generally used together, right? And that's why these phrases will make you sound like a native English speaker. Another thing over here is reversing the structure, using traveling as a gerund over here as the subject of your sentence. Changes up the structure, makes it more exciting, puts focus on traveling, which is really the focus of your answer, right? So this sentence structure works really well for such a response. All of these different phrases are generally used in this particular combination, so it will make you sound like a native speaker. This is a good upgrade to the sentence that was provided. I like traveling and exploring different cultures. Instead of that, you can say I'm passionate about traveling and exploring different cultures. Yes, exit. Next week we are having all sections. We're going to do 1 hour of full live solving. So when we do the full live solving of reading, make sure you attend that class so you get everything. And otherwise, there are a lot of tips and tricks that I've given for the reading comprehension section. So make sure you look for those videos on the channel. You will easily find them. And there's a small 10-minute video also about the #1 technique to use for solving reading comprehension questions. So make sure you check out that video. Avyakta, why are you going out of your way to make your questions sound more complicated than they need to be? Don't do what you're doing right now. The way you are asking and framing your questions makes it sound unnecessarily complicated and, to be honest, AI generated. What you need to do to incorporate them naturally is to listen to examples where they have been in the past incorporated naturally. There are certain words that are generally used in certain contexts, other words that are generally used in other contexts, right? So contextual understanding of vocabulary word and how it has been historically done. So I would say historical contextual understanding of vocabulary is extremely important, right? And you can do that through ChatGPT. Just input a word, tell ChatGPT to give you 10 different contexts in which this word has been used in interviews given by famous people. So if you ask ChatGPT to scan the internet to find the usage of this word used by different famous people in interviews, then you will get to know naturally how these words have been used. Another good resource is Ludwig. You go, you enter a word in Ludwig, it will give you many examples of that word being used across media. So it could be in interviews, it could be in books, it could be in academic articles, it could be in news articles. Ludwig will give you a list of where this word has been used. So that will give you the contextual understanding of vocabulary words. Okay, Rohan, 1 second. I'm extremely fond of visiting new places. Yes, very good. That works. Sion, just the I want to explore every corner of the planet. That is what you should say. If you're saying I like to do this, that means you've already done it and you just like to do it again and again. And here you're using the corner of the planet. That means only one corner you want to go to. What you're trying to say is that you want to explore every corner of the planet, right? Every corner here, like a collocation, is used to express that you don't want to leave any space unexplored. ऐसी कोई भी जगह नहीं होनी चाहिए जहां मैं नहीं गया, right? So that to express that you have to say every corner, not the corner, okay? Every corner. That is the correct use of collocations. So apex, good change, but instead of saying holds a soft corner, you can say I have a soft corner for traveling, because that's the more natural way of saying this. We don't say it holds a soft corner. Instead, you can say traveling, I have a soft corner for traveling. I have a soft corner for traveling. Even though here soft corner doesn't make sense, soft corner is usually for people or certain things that you're more compassionate towards, that you're biased towards. Like no matter what happens, I have such a soft corner for my sister that no matter what she does, I end up forgiving her. Sort of like that. So here again, it's a little awkward to use it in this context. Like devastating for pollution was a bit awkward. Here soft corner for traveling is a little awkward, not very commonly used. Okay, let's try the next one. And the second half of your sentence is not making sense. It makes me feel alive is very good. It makes sense. Cherry on top in my wish list. Cherry on top here is being used incorrectly. So don't force fit an idiom. What does cherry on top mean? Cherry on top means that something that adds a little bit of an extra advantage to something, right? Or that makes something a little better, right? So when we went to Manali, it was very beautiful, and the fact that it snowed while we were there was a cherry on top. Okay? That's okay, Rohan. Fumbling is normal, it's natural. What did you say? What was the exact question? What did you say? Meanwhile, everybody else, please upgrade this. It was a good book. The story was interesting. I liked it a lot. Let's upgrade this one. Quickly, I don't see any responses. Come on. It should get easier with every example. Okay, that works. Very good. The book was captivating and the storyline kept me hooked from start to finish. I thoroughly enjoyed it. I absolutely love the book. It was such a page turner, I couldn't keep it down. Great, good. It was an absolute page turner. That's an idiom that you can use or phrase that you can use when it comes to books. Captivating, interesting, in all of these words work for books. Storyline kept me hooked. Kept me hooked, again, good phrase, incorporation. And instead of saying a lot, thoroughly, again, a good upgrade. Overall, well done. That works. The book was fabulous as the story really got me engaged and excited. I couldn't take my eyes off. Yes, okay, this also works. Kept me on the edge of my seat. If it's a thriller, then it kept me at the edge of my seat. Again, that's an idiom that you can incorporate. So very good. That's okay, Rohan. I like my desk because I spent a lot of time on it. I study and most of my time goes into studying. So I make sure that my desk is arranged in a way that is comfortable for me. I have a chair that provides me with good backrest and I enjoy my time there. So that's a very simple, normal response you can give. It's okay. Next time, just make sure that even if it's a very mundane, simple thing according to you, just be honest. I like my bed because it's extremely comfortable. I really look forward to going to sleep in it because that's my favorite time of the day is closing my eyes and lying down right before I go to sleep, where I think about my day and my future plans. Something like that also works. Very good, Tarun, but spelling of insightful. Insightful. Okay? Sion, very typical example of getting the wrong part of speech, using a word incorrectly as a wrong part of speech. You don't say worthy book here in this context. You say the book was worth it. You can say something like the book was long but worth it, right? Or worth reading. This is wrong usage here, okay? All right, but good job. I think you all are getting the hang of it. So I have the final homework sentence for you. Leave it in the comments. And whoever has the best response will get a surprise. It could be anything. But I promise a surprise. I'm going to really start looking out for homework responses and you can get any kind of a surprise. It could be a giveaway. It could be anything. Alright. So make sure that you are leaving your answer in the comments. Make sure it's not AI generated. I have a software in which I can plug it in and it will tell me if it has been generated using AI. See, there's nothing wrong with generating AI responses. You can get AI to generate sample responses. That's absolutely fine. Just don't use that as your final answer because you can't do that during the IELTS. So you still have to practice. You can use the AI generated response as a framework or as your the answer that you need to work towards, right? But you still have to practice writing your own answers. All right. So leave your response. I won't tell you what the surprise is, but there definitely will be one. Leave it in the comments. And that's the end of today's session. If it was helpful, make sure you subscribe to the channel and share the channel with your friends. Make sure you like the video. Don't forget to do that because that's how engagement increases. Alright, and do leave comments. Engagement increases through that as well. Also, the more you engage with the content, the more frequently we can put out stuff for you. So make sure you do that. And follow us on our socials so you don't miss out on updates. Telegram channel is linked in the description. Alright, in the comments, chat I'm not reading. I will not read your response in the chat. If you want the surprise, you have to give it in the comments. Alright, and I will see you tomorrow. Take care.